From the book Skeleton Crew by Stephen King comes The Mist. As I sit here in the Holiday Inn on Route 301, I'll tell you the story of what has happened the last couple of days. On the night of the worst heat wave in northern England history finally broke, the night of July 19th, the entire western Maine region was lashed with the most vicious thunderstorms I have ever seen. We lived on Long Gateway when we saw the first of the storms speeding its way across the water towards us, just before dawn. For an hour before, the air had been utterly still. As me and Steph looked out on the water, we thought about what we'd done that day. Going and swimming and drinking Pepsi out of a metal bucket filled with ice cubes on the dock. Motorboats went through the water as we sat there watching, and we broke ourselves in quiet conversation. I don't want to scare you, I said, but there's a bad storm on the way, I think.
There was thunder ahead last night and the night before, David. They just broke up.
They won't do that tonight.
No?
If it gets bad enough, we're going to go downstairs.
How bad do you think it can get?
I don't really know, but the wind can come off the lake like an express train. During the night, no one slept that much. The storm was coming up on us already, and every time a thunderclap would go, there was static in Norton, our neighbor's radio. In the morning, everything was crushed down. Our windows were broken. Everything was ruined in our house. And when we tried to get out that morning, the trees and telephone wires were down. Me and Billy were going to go to town. Billy's my son. He's 5. We were going to go to town to get some stuff for Steph at the grocery store, Brown's Market. Steph gave us our list and we started off. Me and Billy arrived that morning at Brown's Market. I wanted to call Steph and make sure she was all right because the mist was coming in. Billy and Norton went on inside. I was going to join them right after I'd called on the phone. When I was done, I went on in and tried to find Billy and Norton. They'd only found a couple things on the list. Some Coke and some meat and a 6-pack of beer. When me and Billy got inside the store, we looked around, but soon when the mist had already blown over, many people started coming in with bloody nose and saying that there was something in the mist. Billy started crying and started saying he wanted his mommy. I took him to the back of the store where the beef counter was and put him down. Snotty little nose. He started to go off into a doze, and soon that doze went into real sleep. I went off in the back counter to look for something to cover him up with. I went through the double doors and heard something. The generator. It smelled bad. I took off part of my shirt to cover my mouth with, and then I smelled it. It was fumes. They were backfiring. Something was clogging the outside fumes. I turned off the generator and the lights went blank. Then I heard something behind me. No, it was outside. So I stood still, deadly still. I listened. It was there all right. I knew it was there. Something terrible, horrible. I ran out and told everybody what it was. I just heard. They didn't believe me at first, but then they said they'd go back in. When they did go in, it was probably just because of the generator. They said that it was, when they cut it back on, that it was right for me to turn it off. Then there was this guy named Jim something, and he said he wanted to go outside and get whatever it was off the fume gauge. He had a bag boy named Norm. Norm was a real brave kid, although I saw fear in his eyes when he said he wanted to go outside and take a look at the fume valves. Jim said it was okay, so he went on outside after I tried not to do it. When he came back in, he said it was all clear. But when he came in, we opened the wide loaded door, and tentacles started coming in. Great, big, green tentacles. They grabbed him by the ankle, and he started grabbing for the door, but it didn't help. He was being suspended up in the air by the tentacles. They were wrapping around his knee. Oh no. His whole leg. They were all around him, all the way up to his shirt. They tore off his shirt. I was screaming frantically. I didn't know what to do. Neither did Jim and Ollie. They were just standing there still. Ollie was one of my friends. But I didn't really care for Bud Brown, who was the owner of the store. He was just standing there too. I yelled for him to stop and help. I tried to hold on to him, but let go. It looked like he was looking at me before he died. His eyeballs seemed like they were bulging out of his head. The wide lower door was open now and the tentacles started covering the floor. The button was across the floor and I couldn't reach it. Suddenly I turned. I saw a broom handle. I picked it up and tried to hit for the door. I did. Then I saw one tentacle. It was smushed. Black stuff was coming out of the thickenings. They pulled back, drew back. One half of the tentacle was laying there on the floor. And finally made its way under some newspapers. As we looked at the wide low door, we finally decided to tell the people outside what was happening in here. So we ran outside and started to talk to people, told them what was happening. I told Norton, but he didn't believe me. He said it was a big joke because he was an out-of-towner. I started to think he was really losing his mind. And so he said I was a real big hotshot right from Hollywood and brought all this stuff down. I told him, why would I buy a $40,000 fog machine, have it come in, pay $20,000 for shipping, pay $8,000 for just the shipping for manicure, and then do this? He just laughed at me. And then I went over to Ollie and Jim and whatever his name's friend is, and they told him the truth. They told him I wasn't lying, but he still wouldn't believe me. I was hoping for Norton's help in doing this, but he just wouldn't believe it. So we decided to tell everyone else in the room. We told them, and we were lucky they didn't panic much. But a lot of people said they had to get home and check on people. We told them they really shouldn't, but one or two people went ahead and left anyway. Now the people in the room were made up of about 4 or 5 groups. One, which was made up of Norman and about 10 other people who didn't believe anything. A big crowd of people that had gathered after me and Norton's fight had doubled after I'd started another one and hit Norton. And another group, which I didn't really care for, was for the one with Miss Carmody. She was a crazy woman, actually. And now, I sort of remembered as the mist had come in earlier that morning, and pieces of tentacles that I'd seen in the back. Now I just couldn't take it in. I kept on thinking of Billy, and went to the back and held him tight. And then the mist came in closer. I didn't know what would happen next. I really don't remember the rest of the story very well. Most of what happened was very vague. I remember tentacles coming in a clear space to the truck. I took Billy, and Mrs. Carmody came with us. We ran as fast as we could to the car and jumped in. All the other people were left behind. I I drove as far as we could and turned on the radio. I couldn't hear much. All the stations were out, just like it had been before. I didn't know what to do. I rammed up the four-wheel drive and started going, just up to Little Hill Rock. I drove for about 300 miles, and then Billy was already dozing off, and Mrs. Carmody was too. I pulled over to the side of the road, and we all slept for about 8 hours. We were reluctant that nothing happened to us during that time. Then the mist sort of cleared, and I turned all my lights on bright in the car. I didn't know what else I could pull it on. I could only see for about 10 feet in front of me, but that was enough to get through, although the road was cracked and scarfed and full of roads and stuff. With the four-wheel drive, I could pretty much make over something, but I kept on thinking about something that might hold us back. Just a rock in the road or something that might pull up the wheels. Finally, we made it to Little Rock, and there was almost no one there. I didn't see anyone in the houses as we drove through the narrow road. We kept on going another 300 miles to I don't know where. I couldn't keep track of where we were going. Finally, we came to this Holiday Inn. I'm writing this on a notepad that I found in the hotel. Billy is beside me, and Mrs. Carmody is asleep on one of the singles. I don't know. I'm hoping we'll make this through alive. I'm going to leave all that I've written down now for the past 4 hours on a piano on the front in the lounge. I'm hoping someone in the future will pick it up and learn of us and what we've gone through. I keep on thinking of Steph, but I'm hoping if we get through this alive, she'll be okay. I'll go back and look for her at least. I'm going to leave you now, and we're going to all get in the car and just keep on going until we can't go anymore, and hope we don't get consumed by the mist.
This is what we're reviewing from NASA.
20 miles away, somewhere past our galaxy, the Milky Way, was a strange intruder to another world, the Voyager spacecraft, traveling to the outer known planet of our vast known solar system, Planet X. The planet that has been unexplored. Gases and terrain has been only now exposed to the public. And now we can find a closer look at what we're supposed to find when traveling to other galaxies. This is a picture of Planet X's strange formation of the ground. Hold it, hold it. Here's the life form. One of the life forms of the planet.
The first
So it's moving.
ever seen by our cameras here at our studios. What appears to be a giant human hand. Dismembered hand. Trying to consume the object. As you can see. I might add we're stealing this from ABC. But it's ours. Believe me. Or Flower Radio TV.
What was one of the life forms of this planet.
There are the remains, the waste products of the...
They're heading home the sides of the planet. So we cannot
That is
see
the
them.
movement and the way the creature moves.
Here's the Voyager.
There's the rear view of the craft, and they touch off
The pitch down.
as we're landing here. As you just saw, the above pictures as Voyager was orbiting the planet X.
It's like a crystal fortress.
Now, what appears to be a crystal fortress has been seen over the edge. It looks very odd. I've never seen anything like it.
And as the Voyager is taking samples.
Yes, this is what we're taking samples now.
Here's some data.
And here's
The planet's very cold.
it's a very cold planet.
The sunlight that it gets from our sun.
Yes, it's approximately negative 2,343 degrees at this very moment on Planet X as we're viewing it here from Flower Radio and TV.
The chemical makeup.
Yes, the chemical makeup of the planet is solid. It is just a floating rock with gases around it with a normal atmosphere similar to Earth,
Human life.
except for the chemical makeup of the atmosphere has absolutely no oxygen.
Given off by
It
the
is
green
actually filled with hydrogen, which the creatures here appear to be breathing. They are unlike us or any other creature we've seen before. They are definitely not carbon-based, but appear to be somewhat silicon in makeup. That is what it sounds like when the creature moves. It appears to be letting off its gassed products as it
We're
moves.
getting a chemical makeup of them right now.
And here's a close-up of the Voyager spacecraft. And as you can see, we see some kind of volcanic craters,
These little
bubbles actually on the surface that have hardened after years and years of time.
and sustained some sort of metallic steel composition that sticks
Yes, there is the sensor arm of the Voyager spacecraft, which it has touched down on the planet this very moment. It's taking samples to bring back to Earth so that our scientists can analyze them. This is what the Voyager's sending back.